I wanted to do a quick video on finding a primary source for the doublespeak essay. Again, by primary source, I mean you have to have your hands, at least metaphorically, most of this is online, right? You have to have your hands on that primary source. So if you want to do a Trump speech, you actually have to have a transcript of that Trump speech or a video of that Trump speech so that you can go in there and analyze the doublespeak that's being used in the speech. Likewise, if you're going to do a drug ad or something, you need to go find that commercial. Maybe you saw one on TV and like, there's my topic. But you want to have a copy of that video of that commercial so you can go through it, and you want to be the one analyzing that speech or that video or whatever. I don't want to see you talking about what somebody else says about a Trump speech. I want to know what you're seeing in that Trump speech or Biden speech or whatever. It doesn't matter which politician we're talking about. But everybody's essay is going to start off the same. You want to give a definition of doublespeak from Let's, that source I've got copied up there. I have it here? Yeah. I don't know why I feel important to read. It's an actual book. That's up there on D2L. And then you're going to introduce you that primary source, where it come from, if it's a speech, who was he speaking to, or who was she speaking to. Makes a big difference because politicians will give different speeches to different groups of people, right? But once you establish that, then you're going to go through that primary source and show us the different types of images, if there are any. If it's just a speech transcript, you may not have any images at all. So you may not have all of these in there, but you're looking for the different types of doublespeak. So a good source is going to have different types of doublespeak. So you're just going to say, this politician's just lying through the speech. It's like, well, probably, maybe. But you want to be able to identify different types of doublespeak within that speech. So you may have to go through a couple of sources to get one that is going to work well for this essay. But generally, most people start with images. That's usually the first thing you notice about an ad or someone giving a speech. What do they look like, right? Then you got to get into the different types: euphemism, jargon, weasel words. It's good to kind of separate those out a little bit because weasel words are a very specific type of jargon and almost pretty much in their own category, I think. Bureaucratese, legalese, governmentese, whatever. Specialized kind of language is being used just to kind of overwhelm us with big words, so we just give up. And you may have one that you define for yourself. Kellyanne Conway, one of Donald Trump's advisors, just do this incredible job at misdirection where, why did Trump do this? He's like, well, I don't know why the sky's blue. And, the reporters just be like, whoa, I didn't ask that. And then she just go on about the sky being blue and just totally misdirect and take the interview in a different direction to avoid answering questions. She's the one that came up with the idea of we have alternative realities, right? So you may have to come up with your own definition for some types of doublespeak. But generally, you should be focusing on the ones Les kind of gave us. Then, of course, you bring a conclusion and you'll have yourself an essay. So when looking for sources, find something you're kind of interested in. If you couldn't care less about politics, don't try and do one about politics. It's just not going to work well. You're trying to force yourself to be interested. If you're really passionate about a topic, if you're just, if you got a MAGA tattooed on your chest and you're just a Donald Trump fan, it may be hard for you to be objective if you go look at a Biden speech, for example. And the idea is not that you're going to trash a politician for their speech. You got to be kind of calm, cool, collected. You're going to analyze the languages within the speech. Because I've had some students like, I want to do it about abortion, and don't speak about abortion. I'm like, you don't seem like it's going to be a very analytical essay if you're just going to do something you're really passionate about. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, this is an analytical essay, so not a lot of use of I in here. Even if you have taken a particular drug, let's do Trump first. It's not about your experience with the drug, right? It's about how the drug company is using doublespeak to kind of and images to convince you to diagnose yourself and go ask for this drug. That's why they're on TV, right? This is Trump's getting ready for 2024 here. So kind of an older video going over his platform. But again, with something like this, you can start with the images. Right, just here you can see the background. There's the American flag flying. That "Make America Great Again" is a great example of doublespeak. Because kind of the question is, well, when was America so great we want to return to that time? Right? I mean, I was born in '64. Through the Vietnam era, Cold War period, where us and Russia were going to blow each other up. Right? We built these weapons to use them for the most part. Then up through the current time, I'm not thinking there's a point I want to go back to really. Before that, a lot of the population couldn't even vote. Right? We had to have the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So what exactly was this time when America was great that we want to return to that point? What's wrong with America now? Why the 5 stars? We're used to seeing these kind of reviews where people get 5 stars. It's kind of interesting. And they probably had big meetings about the font and all this kind of stuff. So even before you get into the language, there's Donald Trump with the fist, and they're going to do this to any politician, right? You saw that with the journal entries. So kind of interesting. Why use these images? What are we supposed to get out of this? In fact, I'm just going to turn the sound off here. But you can just see they got 3 American flags, and his head's right in the middle of them, centered. A very, very fascinating way to present. Most people don't have 2 American flags sitting in an office, right? They're doing that on purpose. There's a battleship behind there because Trump's going to battle for us. So even before you even start hearing what he's going to say to destroy the drug cartels, it's not a very good place to pause. There you go. There's a lot of images coming into play. Everything's red, white, and blue, including his suit. So when you go back to that outline, you can get quite a bit out of just the images in this ad or speech or whatever it is. Before you even start talking about the language, the doublespeak within what he's saying. Then after that, you'll get into if he's using euphemisms or jargon. Right, if you're a Republican, generally you're going to start talking about this radical left-wing ideology. Talk about the woke culture and all this kind of stuff. There's kind of these buzzwords. Nobody knows quite what they mean. It's just kind of a certain jargon to get you to feel and react a certain way, right? Again, Trump's very good at this. If you ever watch one of his rallies, all he has to do is go say, Hillary Clinton, the whole crowd goes, boo! And they're like, what happened? You didn't really say anything about her yet. He's kind of speaking a little jargon to him, and that for a very particular effect. Then you can get into weasel words or bureaucraties or whatever else you see going on in that ad. If you don't see a lot of things with the language, it may not be a good source. You may have to go to a different, there you go, protect children from from left-wing gender insanity. So, all kind of buzzwords, jargon, weasel words. You got and it's your job to figure out how you want to identify these words and put them into your essay if you're going to do something like this. And again, if you're a big Trump fan, go to a Biden speech, or if you want to go way back in the Wayback Machine, Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Any president's going to engage at a significant level of doublespeak. But the trick is to find a good primary source where you can see that politician using that language. If you want to go, if you're not into politics, you might consider a drug commercial. This is Latuda. It's an antidepressant, I think. Pretty sure. Usually if you see a sad person like this at the beginning, it's got to be a drug commercial, antidepressant. Because, of course, they're going to start talking about the drug, and everybody's going to be happy by the end, right? Let's go ahead.
Bipolar depression. It made me feel like I was trapped in a fall.
This is art inspired by real stories of...
But notice I said right at the beginning, this is a patient portrayal. This isn't actually somebody on the medication who may not even have bipolar. And these are paintings inspired by real stories, what's that mean? Right?
People living with bipolar depression.
I just couldn't find my way out of it.
The lows of bipolar depression can take you to a dark place.
So we're seeing all these really dark images. Latuda is approved to treat bipolar depression. If you remember, treat's one of those weasel words. It doesn't mean it's going to eliminate the bipolar depression or even fix it. It just treats it. So with a glass of water, right?
And be hard to manage. Latuda could make a real difference.
All right. So when you got these images you can work with, And we're starting to see the doublespeak coming in. It could make a real difference in your symptoms. Again, it's not saying it actually does anything with the bipolar, it just treats the symptoms of it. It could or could not make a real difference. And what exactly is a real difference? That's not a measurable thing, right? So just in that one little sentence, you started to get, lots of, that would be a weasel word, may or could, may or may not, could or could not. Right? They're not really making a specific claim. Number one, prescribed medication, the branded medication. Other medications may not be, may have generic forms, right? That's why they're not on that at the top.
In your symptoms, Latuda was proven to significantly reduce by...
Proven to do what? Significantly reduce. Do they give us any numbers here? What is significant? That can be 1 out of 1,000 significant, right? They're defining what significant is. So this could be a really good commercial, or a commercial like this can be a really good one to work with. Notice now that we've started talking about the drug, the sad paintings are over. There's no sad person looking at us. Again, notice these are just patient portrayals. These aren't actual people taking the medication. They're actors. I'm going to turn the sound off here. But you can just kind of see as you go through they're going to start talking about side effects and everything. I missed that one there. They kind of flash this stuff up. Sorry. It's short. Stop. So no clinically meaningful impact. What exactly does that mean? Defined as more than 7% change at 6 weeks. Weight gain may occur. They kind of contradict themselves, right? They saw no clinically meaningful impact on weight, but weight gain may occur. You and your doctor should monitor your weight. So obviously it's a problem with the medication, or concern with the medication. And again, the idea is not that you're going to say the makers of Latuda are, evil, drug dealers, bent on destroying America. But basically the idea is we're analyzing the language and the images in the ad. And the thrust of your argument is going to be that, hey, these companies have to get people to want to buy these drugs or go to the doctor and get prescribed these drugs. And they got to use doublespeak to do that. They can't make specific claims. They can't guarantee an antidepressant or something for bipolar is going to work. So they got to make it sound like it's going to work and use language to get us to do something. Again, it doesn't mean they're evil. You may be taking this drug and it may be working great for you. So don't think of this as you against the drug companies or big pharma or something. But we're really analyzing the language within the communication here. See, they're all happy now.
Increase these in children, teens, and young adults. Elderly dementia.
Yeah, and see, they're showing all these happy pictures while they're telling you about the side effects. It's a classic trick with drug ads. So you're not really listening to the side effects. You're looking like, hey, this drug can make me happy.
Have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, as these may be life-threatening, or uncontrollable muscle movements, as these may be permanent. These are not all the serious side effects.
Now, I'm back where I belong.
Ask your doctor about Latuda and pay as little as $0 for your first prescription.
And notice, you want to kind of get into the fine print. Exclusions may apply, so you may not be able to get that $0 thing. I can't quite read that, sorry. Because, of course, these drugs aren't cheap.
Most people have no...
There we go. So that might be a pretty good place to start, that Latuda commercial. Then you could go to latuda.com, their website, and see what they say about the drug. And kind of build a pretty good essay there. So if you don't see a lot of jargon in the ad, you might see it on the website where they start really getting into the side effects and might use the big words instead of the small ones, so people won't really quite know what they're getting into. And again, be careful if you're really close to a topic. It may be hard for you to be objective when you're analyzing the language, so be careful there. So but hopefully you can find something you want to talk about. I've had good ones on employee manuals. Don't get yourself fired or anything. Had a really good one on a former minister actually, analyzed different churches' mission statements. This is about 15 years ago, where they were doing kind of that corporate thing where you have to have a mission statement and a vision statement. And a lot of these mission statements just got really squirrely, and you really didn't understand quite what they were saying. And you should, if you're going to be a church and do stuff do stuff for God. So it's kind of up to you if you want to kind of go kind of in your own direction. Run that by me real quick, so I can make sure you don't go too far astray there. And again, it may take may have to work through a couple of topics to kind of do the quick outline thing and to go like, I'm not seeing all these different types of doublespeak. But hopefully you'll hit one and go like, ha this is what I want to work on. Had a really good one on communication from the Veterans Administration Hospital in Johnson City, where they were denying him a procedure, and just the language they used to turn him down was kind of scary, actually. It was kind of like, well, I don't even know what they're saying here. And he showed it to me, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying either. And he turned that into a pretty good essay. So lots of good things out there. Doublespeak's everywhere. But hopefully that helps a little bit. Sorry if I went a little long there. I can talk about this forever, so got to watch out for me there. But again, if you have any questions, be sure to let me know, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.